right. We're sitting here with Alan Schmitt. Welcome to the show, Alan.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having some time to sit down and talk to us. Busy time of the year for all of us. How's your spring been going?
Spring is going great so far. Yeah, I just got back from a Euro trip, my first real Euro trip. So
where'd you go?
Went to Paris. My wife and I went to Paris. We went to the Tomorrowland Winter, which is an electronic dance music festival in the French Alps.
Oh, cool.
Which was really interesting. And then a couple days in Barcelona, and now we're back here, and I'm back to work, back to gigging and recording and working on all sorts of stuff.
Did you hear any bands when you were over there too? Or?
Yeah, interestingly enough, so the music festival, I heard a lot of EDM artists.
Right.
EDM's not one of my top genres or anything like that when I listen to music.
Was it boots and pants or was it more?
It was boots and pants.
Cool,
yeah.
cool. There's time for that.
For sure. Yeah, and I really like the festival was very positive and very uplifting and very.
Cool.
We're all here about love. We're all so it was a really interesting, unique experience. Saw some live music in Paris, actually, in Strasbourg, Saint Denis. A friend of a friend that I met when we were over in Paris was like, "Hey, you're a musician. You should come to this jam and check it out." So we got there a little bit late. So we just caught the tail end of the jam, but it was like an improvised jazz jam in Paris with a bunch of French musicians.
Nice.
French freestyling.
Were they good?
Yeah, they were great. They were awesome.
What are some tunes that you guys played?
They have a format where they just do improv. So the guitar player will usually start the song. They'll play something, and then drums, keyboard, and whoever else is bass and
cool.
hops on, and they just improvise stuff. And it merges into they might eventually get into like Valerie or something like that, but they try and keep it experimental and interesting.
Did you see that in my eyes? Because I was going to ask you that question.
Yes.
So, did you get to play Valerie?
It was one of my first questions.
Hey,
you guys play Valerie all the time over here too?
Yeah,
I
was in Scotland last year, and I was walking down a street lined with cool taverns, and I heard Valerie in almost every one of them. I was like, Jesus.
We can't escape it.
Can't escape it. You might as well get paid for it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So what's been some highlights, musical experiences you've had this year? What's been going on with you?
This year. So I'm working on a lot of recording right now. I have a lot of back catalog. I've been writing and recording original music really since I was in high school. A lot of that has never seen the light of day, and I have a lot of collaborations with friends from over the years. So one of the things I've really focused on this year is to jump back, get rid of some of these old projects, finish them, put them out so I can sleep at night.
Right.
These are things that they're songs that I was always really happy with, but they needed finishing touches, they needed mixing, they needed a part. So now I'm trying to kind of fill in the blanks and get rid of some of these old recordings, get them released to be out in the world, and at the same time working on a lot of new original music this year too.
Okay. So that stuff's been clouding your mind a little bit. I get the same way, actually. When you have too much sitting there on the back burner, it kind of holds you back a little bit sometimes, too.
Yeah.
So some of these songs you said you've been sitting on for a while, what was kind of keeping them from getting finished? Just circumstances, or was it, you didn't have the right equipment, didn't have the right guys, or didn't have time? Or,
Great question. I think, honestly, the big thing was like having a process. And so one of the bands we'll talk a little bit more about later, an original project I'm in called Augie Wisco. Part of that project, we have been writing original music, and came time like, well, let's start releasing stuff. Let's record and release stuff. And I've always had the capability and some skills to do some basic engineering and recording, not really so much on the mixing and mastering side of things. So the lead guitar player from Augie Wisco, great friend of mine, John Barwick, introduced me to this guy who actually lives in Connecticut. He does audio work for ESPN. This guy, Hugh, his name's Hugh. His company is called Level Best Sound.
Oh, cool.
And Hugh has been so amazing to work with. So we established a relationship with Augie Wisco with working on our original music through him. Got one song done with him, and then I said, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to get this old stuff mixed and mastered and sounding good. So
opportunities then.
Exactly.
Sure.
Opportunities to really fill in that piece of the puzzle in terms of the process. And then I'd never done the release side of music. I'd never, gone through whatever CD Baby, DistroKid, whoever you use.
Right.
And so I got the opportunity to do that for Augie Wisco. I kind of handled a lot of the release side of things. And doing that, realized, okay, this isn't too difficult. This is pretty easy to do. And I don't see why I wouldn't release this music that I've enjoyed for the last, decades.
That's great. So we don't get to play together too much.
Right.
You're a bass player and guitar player and a singer too, right? I mean,
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, not so much.
I'm a bass player, so that's just how that works.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do a three or four people bass player band one of these days.
I'd love to do that. That
I
would be
too.
fun.
I did one in college, actually. We did a night in Tunisia, and we all split the melody, harmony,
No way.
and the walking part. Oh, man, it was so fun, dude.
That's awesome.
It was fun. And we should do it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's do
so what makes a good bass line? See, whenever I first heard you play, I think it was with Malin somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of musicians sitting around. You know, we always sit and view each other, stare each other down. You know what I mean? And I was just like, man, what a great tone, what a fundamental bass line and command of the bass. So you want to tell me a little bit about your bass playing? I mean,
Sure,
what
yeah.
makes a good bass line?
I feel like my approach to bass has kind of been informed a lot by how I arrived here. So I played guitar beforehand. I went to college at Charleston from 2010 to 2015, studied jazz guitar there. Had some great professors, great teachers that are, still friends and musicians that play around town. And I told the story in last season, but
Right.
I got a call for a gig at the music farm, thanks to my dad put me in touch with this young singer, and had a conversation. Was like all in for the gig, and at the end of the conversation, she's like, "You play bass, right?" Yes. I had a bass guitar. I had recorded bass.
That's how I got my first gig, actually.
Yeah, that's how
It was
most
punk
bass.
rock when I was 15, but yeah, sure, I play bass.
That's
How
how
could it
most
be?
basses start out. I think a lot of us start out that way. So maybe it's not that unique, but I pretty quickly realized, oh, I think I like this better than playing guitar. I think I like a lot of the aspects of this better. And having that transition, it was really important for me when I started playing bass guitar that I didn't play bass like a guitar player playing bass. Switching to bass, it was important for me to really not. There are a lot of things with bass. There are a lot of opinions on the bass guitar about, do you play with the pick? Do you not play with the pick? 4 strings, 5. There's all these things that people can argue about all day. When I started playing bass guitar, it was with Haley Mae Campbell, who's now she's in Nashville doing the music thing, doing the original music thing. And one of the early collaborators that I started working with was Malin. So Malin Wagner, who was also on the show last season. We did an album together that you guys did an awesome episode.
Yeah, it was great.
Breakdown of that album. So also check that episode out if you haven't heard it. And with Malin also played bass as well. Before, really, not maybe before. I think he probably played guitar first, but he played bass in several bands around town too. And so, one of the important things early on to me was I was new to this. I didn't really understand how it all worked. So it was like, well, I'm just gonna keep this really simple. I'm just gonna try and play the song,
Right.
and that's it. I don't want to do too much, because there's definitely a thing in town where you hear a lot of really talented bass players that play a lot, and they want to put a lot into maybe an easy pop song. Right. It was always important for me not to get in the way too much. And one of my favorite compliments I've gotten was from a drummer in town that said, "Oh, I played with him one time. He sat in on a gig, and he's like, 'Oh, you're a song player.'" And I was like, "Thank you. I think that's what we're all here to do. We're all here to support each other and play a song together."
Well, unfortunately, we're not all here for that, but yeah, I definitely
we all
get
should
your
be
point.
here. Yeah. So I think bass's role is support. I think it's really easy to get caught up in, especially playing simple music, playing the same song you've played 1,000 times. It's easy to get bored and get distracted. And I always look for ways to try and really make it interesting. So one of the things we worked a lot on in college was breaking down these little tiny fundamental things. So I remember Quentin Baxter had us looking at putting a metronome on and really focusing on not just the downbeats or the quarter note beats, but really focusing on the second eighth note, the ands or the 16th notes, because it's we don't put the same amount of focus into those. And so sometimes there's little tiny rhythmic discrepancies where those are ahead or behind. And part of that makes feel too. Part of that's a strategic thing and it's a positive thing. But I think sometimes it's sort of a weakness too. It's I'm really strong at these downbeats, but I'm not as strong in the other things. So, and I think with the bass guitar, especially, we're playing, a lot of times we're playing one note that's doing a lot of work.
Doing a lot of chordal work. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the signings. Yes, absolutely.
And part of that's overtones and stuff too, but it's like, the guitar player or a keyboard player has all these other different colors and all these other things that they're putting in there. We have this one note. So there's some really important aspects to that note is where does the note land? Is it on the beat? Is it behind the beat? Is it ahead of the beat? Where does that note cut off, right? Because our one note has all this power. How are we controlling that power? I think.
Right.
And a lot of it is on a gig, just experimenting and trying, cut these notes short, see what happens. Like on country music, you can hear the 1/5 thing a lot on bass, and it's not always sounding the same. There's a lot of really subtle tastes and feel things in there. And I think that's one thing that you just have to do it a lot and practice it to get better at knowing when to use the right tool. And
what's some tone goals? How do you set up your bass tone?
Tone goals. I try. That's a good question. I when I came to bass playing, I did a lot of research and just a lot of listening and a lot of paying attention to stuff. That was one of the big shifts. I think it's different to be a guitar player playing with a bassist. I still don't really think I understood what the bass did until I started playing the bass, which is kind of fascinating. But one of the first things I saw, a lot of people really like P basses. A lot of people, there's this standard sound that came out of Motown, the P bass with flat wounds on it. That was kind of how my first decent bass that I bought for myself. Actually, my second. I bought a decent jazz bass from a friend in town too. But my first considerable bass purchase was a P bass. It was an American P bass that I actually got my mom sort of bought for me when my mom passed away in 2018. She left me some money, and so that was how I wanted to spend some of it, and kind of in her honor was to buy. So I have this bass now. I used to gig on it a lot. I don't really gig on it anymore.
Right.
I leave it here at the house. I use it for recording and stuff like that, but that's a P bass with flats on it.
That is one of the best recorded bass sounds of all time.
It's just, it always sounds good. Yeah. Like there's not
I always go back to it at some point. I'll stray from the path and get pulled back.
Yeah.
Especially to the flats.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And when I started gigging a lot more, I got myself another bass. And this time I was like, you know what? I like some of the sonic capabilities of the jazz bass. I feel like the P bass is great at what it does. I think it's fine. There's just not really a lot of like mids and high end that I would like to have the capability to use for certain things. So I got I now have a Fender American Performer. It's like a PJ bass. So it's a P bass body, but it's got the P bass pickup, and it has in the bridge it's got a jazz pickup too. So it's passive, so I can dial in both pickups as much or as little as I want to.
Yeah, that's great.
It's still simple. I don't like a lot of controls. I don't like a lot of...
Same here. I'm scared of those basses with the 7 knobs and stuff. Like, what is all that for?
Oh my God, yeah.
That was gonna be a heart attack looking at all that, plus the amp and the pedals, and then you need a sound man to control your bar gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be like that. Honestly, I feel like a lot of it's in your hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, you see a Jeff Caldwell playing like a Squier guitar. Yeah. It's usually like a middle-aged or older guy that comes around and they have their arms crossed and they're like looking at the guitar as set up. They're like staring at his pedal board, looking at his. And I just want to watch some guy walk up to Caldwell and be like, "You're playing a Squier," and then hear him play and be like,
"Yeah, right.
I'll shut up now."
Yeah, right. You have an amp, a chord, and a Squier.
Yeah, that's all he needs. Yeah. I think a lot of it is in the hands, and a lot of it is in touch.
Does someone need talent to be a musician? Do you need talent to be a professional musician?
To be a professional musician, that's a deep question. I think, that's such a hard question. I'm going to take this approach. So one of the things I love about my wife Natasha is she is not musical whatsoever. Like she tried to play, I think, the clarinet when she was younger, and they're like, "Why don't you just take this triangle?" And then they gave her the triangle, and they're like, "You know what? Maybe you should go into another program other than music." She's. I
was told that same thing, by the way.
Were you?
Oh yeah, I got the blocks taken away from me.
Maybe that was motivation for you to like. I'll show you.
Yeah, right.
One of the things I love about having her as a listening board for myself is she is representative of 98% of the people that are listening to us. you know, a lot of times we get so bogged down in musicianship and the music thing. It's really, really valuable for me to have somebody I can play her a song and she's going to give me her honest take on it, you know, brutally honest sometimes, which I appreciate. But she doesn't see all the little things that we see. And it's a good reminder for me of like, you know, first of all, don't be so hard on yourself. So that being said, you know, being a musician and walking around and hearing music around town or traveling, hearing music around the world, you know, we're looking for all these little things and all, you know, we're paying attention to all these tiny, minute details that I think in the grand scheme of things don't make a huge difference with the audience. I mean, we can think about people that we play with that maybe aren't as skilled musically as other people that we play with, but do such a great job at commanding a crowd. And that's where I think I like to think about music and kind of this really, really broad skill set, right? And there's the music side of things, which we focus entirely on, I think. And then there's like the performance side of things, right? Are you smiling? Do you look like you're having fun? You know, do you look miserable on the bandstand? That sort of thing, I think makes a big difference. I think, you know, there are people that may not be the most, you know, like impressive musicians, but they get out there and they know how to work a crowd, and that's a different skill set that I don't have that. You know, I'm not a front man. I'm not a performer in that sense. So I do think you don't necessarily need a ton of. I think you need some musical talent. You got to be able to do the basics, but I don't think that's a driving force necessarily for getting work always. Right.
Yeah, that's cool. So let's hear a song. You want to? Let's hear it. Let's talk about. Let's talk about On the Fairgrounds. What do you want to tell me about this song?
Yeah. So On the Fairgrounds. This is the oldest song we're going to be listening to today. So a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, T.C. Green, and I wrote this song. He did the majority of the writing, but I contributed to back in 2012. So I was going to college at the time. I was in the jazz program. I was playing guitar. He's also a guitar player and singer, and this song kind of just happened pretty quickly. It's one of those songs that just kind of happened. We were talking about some love lost on his behalf. We were talking about actually a shopping mall in Connecticut was sort of maybe the impetus for a lot of the lyrics in the song. So it's on the fair. There's a mall in Connecticut. I'm from Danbury, Connecticut originally, and there's a famous mall in Danbury. If you live up in that part of the country, you know about it because it's popular. And it used to be a fairground.
Okay.
So they used to have the Danbury Fair every year for I assume for decades. I don't know the history that well, but I think in the 80s it became a shopping mall. And so the shopping mall opened up, and then as we were getting older, they remodeled the shopping mall, and so part of the song is sort of about that is losing its innocence.
Okay.
As well.
Times are changing, right?
Yeah, times are changing. Yeah. So, so interesting thing about this song, this was actually one of the first songs I recorded bass guitar on. So I didn't consider myself a bassist at the time. I played the electric guitar on this. So the guitar solo is me. The main hook line that you'll hear is me. My friend TC did the acoustic guitar and sang on it. So the acoustic guitar and electric guitar, minus the slide guitar that we added, is all from 2012. That's all original. In kind of bringing this project back to life, decided to add some stuff to it. So we added drums. So I have Beat Band Fresh, Shelton Desesseur, recorded the drums and the percussion, the tambourine on this just a few weeks ago. And I got David George Sink to record the slide guitar. So any of the slide guitar stuff you hear in there is David Sink.
Oh, that's great.
The percussion is all Shelton, Beatman. And then we have Hugh, as I said before, Hugh's been just a dream to work with on the mixing and mastering side of things. He's he also kind of wears the producer hat to some degree, and so he gives us a lot of insight and a lot of guidance.
Helps to have that second pair of ears, kind of checking everything.
So much. So he's been the one who's working on this, and actually, this version that you're going to hear the version that you heard is pre-mastering. We're kind of still in the mix. We're almost done with the mix. But by the time this airs, I think I'll have the mastered copy to you to play that.
This is On the Fairgrounds.
I remember your mustard dress and your sea green eyes and the sweetest summer breath that you did invite. Your body form is a carnival carved of marble stone. Just passing by your side, I never felt alone. Through the sinking fields we marched to the drone of cars. Not the same, but still the same. Only now they part. There are balloons in the air, pale as cinder blocks, falling down on the fairgrounds on her flaxen locks. Oh, these swollen memories, they don't turn to stone. It's not rocket surgery, but I know so now your mustard dress has fallen and you dangle pearls, but that gilded carousel still spins and rides and twirls.
All right, and we are back with Mr. Alan Schmitt. We're going to talk about songwriting a little bit. One of the things that I noticed from the songs that you submitted was a commitment to songwriting. And what we were talking about in the first segment was kind of emphasizing that. You're playing for the song, you're thinking about songs here. What makes a good song?
Man, hitting me with the deep questions. I love it. What makes a good song? I look for so much. I mean, I look for parts that are interesting. I look for little, I think, musical tidbits. I think example on the fairgrounds that you just heard. we added a lot of just subtle things there, and I think that those are the things that like musicians will hear. Like I sent the song to Malin the other day, and he was like, a lot of cool little musical goodies in there, you know. I think that's a kind of a draw point for musicians. I think for non-musicians and for general audience, it's got to have some sort of hook, I think is important. I think, you know, what's going to make you want to listen to that song again? There are a lot of things that can do that. And I think for a musician, we probably catch on to different hooks than the audience.
Yeah, there's tons of hooks, or what we think are hooks.
Right.
For sure.
And sometimes people don't even notice anything about it, you know? It's like, but I think we've all heard enough music to sort of know what is working and what isn't working. So I think as we listen to a song, as you're writing a song, you kind of ask yourself, like, is this really hitting home to me? Am I enjoying this? If I'm not enjoying this, maybe I need to start over or shift gears or something like that. But I think there's a lot of care that goes into, I think a song has to tell a story. I think a song needs to communicate. I think music needs to communicate. Music's a language. It's hard to put into words sometimes, as you know, that what particular things are interesting to us. Sometimes it's just hard to explain that, but you hear it and you go, oh, that's cool. Like, I like that thing.
Right.
You know?
It's kind of ineffable.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. I think it is. Yeah.
There's definitely a quality that you can't put your finger on, but there's also, like we were talking about Motown earlier, those people were creating hooks intentionally for sure.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
there's definitely like a method to it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music's gotten so diverse.
So it makes it fun too. Yeah, for sure.
It definitely makes it fun.
But
Yeah.
would you say, let me ask you this then. So like a hook is a way, like you were saying, music's kind of a conversation, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it requires the audience to have like at least, some kind of fluency there to be able to like, because one thing that always strikes me as odd is how much great music's out there that most people have never heard just because it's not what they're used to hearing,
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think people are more or less inclined to jump into the deep side of the pool these days than?
Ooh, I think probably in general they're less inclined. I don't think music has gotten smarter over the last couple decades. Not that there's not good. I think there's a lot of really good music coming out now, and I don't want to sound like an old curmudgeon.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's still a lot of great music that's coming out now that is very, very. It's just very strong in a lot of different ways. I think it depends on the style of music. I think like take jazz. I know there are people out there that appreciate jazz and listen to jazz that have never studied jazz. It's always been a little weird to me. Like what is it you see in this music if you don't understand what's happening in the music? And not that I'm taking that away from somebody else's experience. I think you can enjoy whatever you enjoy, but it's always just been a little interesting to me because I feel like jazz is something that requires some level of understanding of how this is even working. Just the basics before you can really like appreciate what they're doing. So I think depending on musical genre. And that's where I think in general society has kind of gone away from that a little bit, and I think social media has kind of ruined our attention span. That's been a negative, in my opinion, for music too. I think a lot of people don't have attention span for music. Like, when I was growing up, people were releasing albums. I was
getting ready to ask you: are the original bands that you're performing in and recording with? Are you thinking about albums anymore, or are you just thinking about singles and hyping them up?
Great question. I'm always thinking about albums. Yes, but understanding the state of the world, I don't feel like it makes sense in any of the projects that I've been a part of to release an album right now. I think that's something that you can build towards. I just think these days it's grabbing attention. It's trying to make people pay attention.
Breaking through the noise, for sure.
Breaking through the noise, yeah. So I think I'm always thinking about albums. Like on the Fairgrounds, the song is an example. I have some ideas for where that could go in the context of an album, and I'm always thinking about that. I think just because we came out of that tradition, but from a practical standpoint, when I'm releasing music, first of all, I'm involved with a lot of bands, so it's not like I have one band that I can focus on and we can sit down and we can go to a. It's not it's not the '90s. It's not that time.
We're not in each other's living in each other's pads and
exactly.
It gets harder as you get older. Trust me. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I personally focus on I'm releasing these songs as singles at this point, and I'm okay with that. At some point, I'd like to make an album. At some point, I'd like to do kind of an album under my own name. But that's a long-term kind of goal, long-term project.
All right. So it's kind of like albums are turning into almost like collections of singles to me.
Very much so.
I mean, I've been kind of doing some writing for some new projects, and I was thinking the same thing, like what should the goal be? I mean, it seems like if you really want people to hear what you're doing and be excited about it, then like the best way is to release singles, and then maybe at some point put them all underneath a package and say the album. But that doesn't really define what an album means to me. You know
right,
I mean? Like
it's a different thing.
Right. When I was growing up, it was like when I think about what is an album that was written to be an album. I mean, to me, it's like Dark Side of the Moon.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that's my favorite album of all time, but I mean, they wrote it as an album.
That's that is an iconic album.
Yeah.
You don't, obviously we know the songs and we play the songs, but that is a body of work that belongs together. Mm-hmm. Like you can't really separate that.
It's just something that might be in the rear view. We'll see for sure. I wonder where we're going. Especially with AI. I'll just mention it briefly. I'm sure we'll come back to it, but sure.
But I think people's attention spans have gotten shorter. I think that's led to a lot of less interest in albums and these creative bodies of work. But I'm all about the whole package. When I'm releasing this music, I try and incorporate and collaborate with other people as much as I can. I love musical collaboration.
Right, me too.
So one of my favorite parts about playing music is collaborating. So it's like if I can get a visual artist to help with the album artwork, I have Hugh at Level Best Sound that I'm working on all these projects with now. He's another sounding board, and he's got some cool ideas that he brings to the table. I love the collaborative process. I love art. I think art is important, and I want to include other artists. I've never been really a visual artist, so I appreciate visual art.
Same.
Like we're here in my studio, we have this awesome design on our wall. That was done by a local mural artist, a guy named John Reese Designs, who has done awesome murals all over town.
We're going to have to take a picture for the promo with us in front of this wall. It is something else for those of you who might not have seen it online for some of the different projects he's posting. But
yeah, it was a dream for a long time. We finally made it happen just in November, or just a couple months ago. He finished it up. But like to me, like having that visual in the space is a little bit inspirational. Mm-hmm. It's something that we can kind of look at and draw from. So I love the arts. I love collaborating with other artists of all different kinds. So that's always a focus for me, is like how can I incorporate other artists into this?
Right. And one of the things that people I hope going forward that people don't start looking at imperfections as mistakes. I guess I don't really know how to phrase it, but like. AI is always 100% perfect at whatever it's trying to do. You can say that it missed the mark of what you wanted it to do, but I mean, whatever it was setting out to do, it did.
Right. You don't have a string out of tune.
Right. There's not going to be any weird inspirations or nothing memorable about that. I don't know. For me, I don't know. I think mistakes make art sometimes in some ways, and there's got to be like some kind of like. You can't be afraid to make those mistakes, or you're going to limit your creativity. That's the worst thing that could happen.
Absolutely. Mistakes make art human, and I think that's one thing going forward with the advent of AI and how it's kind of just infiltrated every industry. I think maybe the next phase is focusing on the human aspect of things. My personal philosophy is I don't believe that, and I choose not to use AI in art. That it's a tool. I understand that I use it for things, but I don't feel good about having AI make a promo for me or an image or music, or it's one thing to use that as a tool and to listen to and get ideas from and draw from, but to me it's like it's a hard line in the sand of like I'm not releasing music that AI has touched. I think humanity is important in art. I think that is what hopefully will continue to separate AI music from human created music.
I think the authenticity element will just become more and more important.
Yeah.
I think the live performances will become more and more important because it's harder to fake that, really. I
Right.
mean, you got to be there for that. That's something that you paid money for and you got to experience yourself as
Yes.
the actual thing that happened to you.
And like you said, how many times do mistakes end up being, you know, the coolest, in some ways, the coolest part of the song?
Right.
I just saw a video the other day where somebody was, I think it was Sting was talking about the beginning of one of the Police songs, one of their big songs. I'm blanking on the name, but there's like a bad chord and some laughter. And that was because he was in the studio right in front of a piano and he accidentally sat on the
nice.
piano and
Right.
played that chord
And
with his butt.
Right. And now that butt chord is like in everybody's collective consciousness that like that album and that song.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So yeah, absolutely. I think mistakes a lot of times, I think a lot of experimentation and scientists are the same way. You know, it's not just arts. These things happen by accident and it's like they lead to all this other amazing stuff. So.
Right. Which is why when you were talking about your dog might be coming in, I was like, that's fine. You know, I'll be able to hear that dog from editing this thing. I'll be editing it 100 times, so I will know that dog's voice quite well.
Yeah.
By the end, which will be great.
Yeah.
So when you're working on a song, how do you know when it's finished?
Oh, that's a really tough one. That's something I had to. I'm still working on. I think we all tend to be perfectionists. But the biggest thing to me is, short answer to your question, I know a song's done when none of the parts of that song give me the ick.
The ick.
You know?
The grimace face. You're like, oh,
Yeah, you're like,
can't live with that.
I know that note's coming where I hit it too early or, you know, whatever.
But it's interesting, though, how that works with what we were just talking about with mistakes. There's good mistakes and there's bad mistakes.
Yes, absolutely.
That's where the art comes in, right?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So when I can get beyond all those, and I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, nothing is standing out and bothering me about this, then I'm ready to release. The longer form of that answer, and kind of one of the drivers for me and the catalyst for me to release so much of this music that I've been working on lately, is I've been a part of so many projects over the years, and I know I'm not unique. I know we're all in the same boat where you've been in bands and you felt like, man, we wrote this music, it's really great, let's get it out. And there's some hurdle, right? Whether that's somebody's level of perfectionism and they're like, it's not good enough, we need to scrap it and do it over. Or maybe there are things that they can't get past, their own icks that they can't get past. But there's so much music that got so close to being released that never did, that frustrates me to no end. So that was really kind of the driving factor for me in releasing this stuff, because it's like I believe in these songs. I think these songs are good. I think, you know, they need some work. I need to add some stuff to them. And I definitely need somebody's help with the mixing and mastering. But now I'm able to actually release it. And it's like, a great song's great, but if you never release it, nobody's ever going to hear it. Right. So what good is that amazing song that you wrote that's sitting on your hard drive that 2 people have heard? It's like, we got to get past that. We got to, and this is something I say to artists a lot that I work with. It's like, you need to push past this and release this, because even if you don't like it, it's a motivating factor for you to get your next release done. And then your next release is going to be better.
Learn something. Yeah, absolutely, in the process.
And what's wrong with showing growth? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
so let's talk about a song, the Storm song.
Yeah.
So let's get into that. So you want to set it up? You want to tell us how this kind of fits into the timeline that you're
sure.
to?
So this song, a friend of mine, DJ, who still lives in Connecticut, and I used to play music and write and record with him for many years. He came to me with this song. He was living in Charleston for a few months, and whenever we're together, we always kind of tended to start working on writing and recording and getting demos and the plan of releasing music. It was a different time back then. I think it was harder to record and release music back then. So there was a couple month period where I was at College of Charleston, 2014. And DJ was in town in Charleston. So DJ and I had these songs. I enlisted 2 friends, Brandon Brooks, a drummer he's now up on Broadway in New York. Brandon's a really good friend of mine, amazing drummer, amazing guy. So Brandon played the drums on this song. I played guitar on this song, the rhythm guitar, the electric guitar. And then another friend, Brett Bellinger, who you probably know, also a great bass player in Charleston, recorded the bass. So like Brandon and Brett and I were in the jazz program. My friend DJ is here temporarily for a little while living. And so we would get together at the College of Charleston every week and work on writing, work on, whatever. We got sort of an EP done, recorded, not done. But the missing link was always, I can do a really basic mix. It doesn't sound good. I'm not a mix engineer.
Yeah, same here. I can get it passable. We can get some demos, but
I never felt competent enough to go beyond that. And I have a lot of respect for people that can do that. So I'd rather enlist somebody that's good at that. So that song sat, and I did a mix of it, and it was a demo, and I played it for people, and I always kind of liked the song. I thought it was a good song. And then in 2015, I added the slide guitar, actually. So the slide guitar is another Charleston friend, Brian Graham, who doesn't gig so much these days, but he used to have a band, DDK, a rock band that I played in for a while that played all over town. So I added him on the slide guitar.
I like that slide part a lot.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, that's cool.
One of my friends, he's like, when I released it, he's like, man, I was waiting the whole song, and I was like, man, if they don't do a guitar solo at the end of the song, they're building up to nothing, man. Like I need that solo. He's like, and finally I got it, and he was really happy with the ending. And there's like a choir in here. The choir is DJ, Brandon, Brett, and me singing in a practice room at the Simmons Center at CFC. Cool. We just did a bunch of takes. We're all singing choir parts together.
That's great.
And then so I brought this to Hugh towards the end of last year, and as much as the recording wasn't great on my behalf, he made it sound great. So that was a pretty awesome moment for him to send this to me and be like, wow, this is sounding like I envisioned it in my head finally.
Cool.
Now I'm happy enough to release this song.
All right, well, let's give it a listen. The Storm Song.
I see it's cloudy now, and your smile's not as bright as it used to shine. She's made up her mind now, and there's no turning back, at least for now. So don't bother to waste your words, don't matter. Her heart's been shattered by this love, just waiting for that day when she goes away, and goodbye's the only word left to say. And I hope that you find a reason to stay.
The studio space. Let's talk about it for just a second.
Yeah.
We touched on it. Kind of give me the lowdown dirty about what you're planning to do in here.
Yeah, so the kind of the name for it is guest room concerts, and the idea is sort of a kind of an inspired by Tiny Desk concerts by NPR. Those have really taken off and been really popular. It's not a huge studio space, but it's enough to fit a four or five piece band in, and record them. So the getting the mural done by Reese was like one of the moments where it was like, okay, now this is going to start happening. So the plan is to get mainly to start with local Charleston artists in here to do performances, and that could be anything from an acoustic performance. I had David Sink in here yesterday. We were shooting some promo video for him for his solo guitar gig. He's like, I want to show people what it looks like when I'm playing a solo guitar gig.
He's been doing very successfully down on Folly. I live down near there. So
over at Rita's. Yeah, David's an amazing human, amazing talent on the guitar, and just he's kind of become one of my best friends.
Oh, cool. Guest of the show.
Yeah. He had a great episode.
Listen to his episode. Please listen to his episode. It was great.
Yeah, so that's the idea, is having performances in here. It's something I'm capable of doing. It's something I'm capable of just to start, do some basic performances, probably one camera angle, maybe eventually step things up, and as it grows, get into a little bit more fancy production side of things. But really the idea being showcasing, I want bands that I play in and bands that that are friends of mine's, to have an opportunity, and just kind of how you have the sounding board for musicians and people in the scene here. I think this is super important for Charleston to grow. I think we all want Charleston to grow. I just saw it, this is an opportunity for me to do that from a video perspective and get a channel going with a couple songs.
That's what people want. People are typically watching YouTube on their televisions now, and I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect timing, man. It's a great idea for sure. So good luck to you. Give me some advice out there if anybody wants to have more musical opportunities. I mean, you book a lot of shows. You play. I mean, you're a full-time musician, correct?
Yeah. So I was teaching up until 2023. I was teaching computer science actually at Academic Magnet High School here in Charleston, and my calendar was getting so busy. I sat down. It was March, and I was talking to my wife, and I was like, "This isn't really sustainable. Is it doing this teaching job and playing as much as I was playing?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's not."
It's not. Trust me, I know.
But thanks to my wife for supporting me. I was able to kind of make that leap, and now here we are. I guess almost 3 years later.
So what have you learned to keep yourself working?
Yeah, so I think obviously there's a musical side of things. I think you need to have some bare minimum basics down in order to play a gig, But I think honestly the biggest aspect of getting work is not the music; it's the other stuff. It's the professionalism. Are you showing up on time? Are you easy to work with? One thing I learned when I was younger, I've worked in a lot of weird industries and military and teaching and food and bev. And, one of the things I learned is like, well, how you get on your boss's good side is you make their job easier. If you make their job easier, they're going to continue to support you. And that's what they want. A manager in any capacity's job is to manage people and the things that surround those people and whatever that industry is. So if you can make the job easier on whoever's hiring you, I think it's you become a huge asset.
That's a good point.
I've always been organized. I think another huge benefit for me is having worked in all these industries, especially like teaching really helped me get organized. As I'm sure you're well aware, and just learn about the organizational process is, like I'm the one that shows up to the gig. I've got a list of songs. I've got done my homework. That's important too, but I'm also there to try and make sure that things go as smoothly as possible. So, the professionalism I think is super important. I think the hang is super important. Musicians talk a lot about the hang. I think we as musicians, we're independent contractors, and we're motivated by things like that. We want to work with people that we enjoy hanging out with.
Yeah. It needs to be fun as it can be.
Yeah.
And still be making money.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think that's important. I'm an extrovert. I like people. I like hanging out with people. I like talking to people. I think that's led to me being out more, which going out, I think, and networking is important. I think none of us really do it enough, especially with us being busy playing at night. A lot of times it's tough to do. It's so much easier to sit at home on the couch and watch TV. I try and get myself, kind of force myself to get out there sometimes when I don't want to. Professionalism, preparedness. I think those are the qualities that make people hopefully call me back.
So looking around Charleston, what are some things that this town needs, or do you think could be improved, or to make it a little bit better?
Yeah, so I love that you always ask this question. I enjoy hearing everyone's answer last season too. So on the note of professionalism, I know most people have said that. I also think, to take it a step further, I think bands. I don't think a lot of musicians focus on the fact that we provide a service, and our service is performing music, entertaining, whoever the people are that are at the event or restaurant or whatever the case. And people seem to kind of shrug off that they're starting 10, 15 minutes late on every gig. And that kind of bothers me, because the same people then complain about money down the line. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, you're not even doing the bare minimum. You're contracted to play from this time to this time. When you're starting 10 minutes late every week.
Right. That's your background speaking there too, a little bit too.
Oh, for sure, sure. And I understand that that's a tough thing for musicians, young musicians that have only done music to understand. But it's like I had a friend get fired. I worked for Apple for a while, for the Apple retail store here in Charleston. I had a friend get fired because he was consistently showing up 2 minutes late to work.
Ooh, that's nasty.
Yeah,
2 minutes.
Yeah,
that's nasty. But
I mean, he was later sometimes, but their cutoff was if you weren't 2 minutes. I think it was if you weren't 2 minutes early, you would get penalized to some degree.
Oh, Lord.
And it's like the corporate world operates that way.
That is true. Yeah.
They expect you to punch in and to be there. And I know people, especially musicians, tend to veer more towards the creative and the artistic side of things. But I think it's important to honor our contract and honor our agreement. So I think that's one thing that I think would make things better. I do think more rehearsing would be cool. And then one of the things I really think we should focus on is playing more original music out at bar gigs. We play these gigs all the time that they're low key, they're low stakes, they're not a big deal, but they're a lot of the way we make our income. And I think if Charleston wants to be taken seriously as an original music city, I think everyone needs to focus on that. That's one thing, to get on my soapbox that I always tell.
No, I think you're right.
Tell local people.
And the crowd tends to like it.
Yeah.
They'll even ask for it. Do you guys have anything original? And if you're in the band that says, well, not really. They kind of look at you funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what am I actually here for?
Yeah. So every Charleston musician that's listening to this, play more original music.
Get out there, even if it sucks. No, I mean, especially if it sucks.
Yeah, and you don't have to do a whole original. Like throw an original song in here and there.
Yeah, right.
I think that's the kind of thing that over time is going to impact the scene in a bigger way, and to sort of get us more on the map for being an original music city. I think you have a ton of original artists here. I just played up at Clemson the other night with an artist, Local Nomad, a guy Mike Desmond from New York.
And tell us a little bit about Local Nomad real quick.
Yeah, Local Nomad, I met him through another musician friend, and he had just moved from New York. It was kind of during COVID, and he was looking to put together a live band. Mike, Local Nomad, is an incredible musician. He's an incredible songwriter. I think he's got some of the best original music that's coming out of Charleston. And he, so his live band that he put together is me on bass and Stuart White on drums. Another great, awesome musician that I love playing. I love playing with Stu. And so he's just released, and going back to the album discussion, he released several singles and then released an album just in March of 2026. So we have a lot of live shows coming up with him that are going to be really cool too.
That's cool.
But I can't recommend his music enough. I think he writes really, really great original music. So Local Nomad, check him out on Spotify. And
I'll try to put a link to all the things you want to send me, by the way.
Cool.
To the episode on the old interwebs. So we're talking about original music. Let's talk about Augie Wisco. This is all leading to that.
Yeah. So that's Augie Wisco. Backstory, in I guess it was 2024, I responded to a Facebook post that was like two guys, I can't remember exactly what it said, two guys making music, looking for a drummer and a bassist. And we all see these things, we all check it out, and they had linked to two songs on Spotify, and I listened to one, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. listened to the second one. I was like, huh, this gave me kind of like a Steely Dan vibe in a cool way. And I was
That's
like,
good.
I was like, okay, there's something here that's speaking to me. So I'd like to get involved. That guy who posted that, his name is Jeff Toppy. Jeff Toppy is the lead singer and rhythm guitar player for Augie Wisco. He was working with, I mentioned earlier, John Barwick, who's another great friend of mine too. John Barwick plays lead guitar, and they had been working on music together, the two of them, on some original music. And Jeff writes a lot of the music, the songs. John has written some songs too. And then I answered the ad as well as drummer Jonathan Alcon. I don't know if you know.
A little. Yeah, I know of him. Yeah.
Plays with Cowan's Calling.
Yeah.
Plays with a bunch of bands, a bunch of original bands too. Jonathan's an awesome drummer too. And we all met up at Revelry and seemed to hit it off back in 2024. And so we started doing the rehearsal thing. And then it was like kind of guiding the ship of like, where are we going with this? What is the goal of this project? And it was like, well, the goal is to make original music and release original music and play original shows. So it took us a while to kind of get up and running, but we released our first single finally in November of 2025. Is that right? Yeah, November of 2025. We released it and played Almanac Green that night, which was a really, really fun show. And now we're at the point we have a ton of music ready to record. We have probably 4 songs mostly done in the recording phase. That we're just kind of finishing up and hopefully going to get over to my friend Hugh again to work on.
That's cool.
And so right now we're
So it sounds like the process is locked and loaded now, right?
Yeah, and that was the cool thing is like understanding. Okay, what's the process for this? Now we have a process, and once you have a process, it's easy to replicate it and to improve it and get better. And so this first song we'll hear, Catch and Release, was our first release song, and hopefully the next couple songs are just better and better.
Cool. I like the song, man. It's cool. It's a good tune.
Thanks, man.
Catch and Release. You guys fish? Do you fish?
Oh, I don't. No.
Okay.
No. Interestingly enough, yeah.
Yeah, I fish, so I do catch and release fishing. Let's hear the song, Catch and Release.
I can't tell if it's just me. Every time I throw a net, I pull it back empty. A sunny day's gonna come my way, just you wait and see. She's pulling me down to my knees. She's cutting a line, catch and release. Eyes, don't you linger. But I should've bought a ring, should've put it on her finger. Another man went and took her hand, go figure. Now I'm coming around, but I missed it. I hope he's not letting her down like I did. Where's my sunny day? Where's my sunny day? Don't you will her. Forget about the parts that she took along with her. After all, I'm just a boat on the river. And I'm thinking it's time to forgive her. Yeah, I'm thinking it's time to forgive her. I'm thinking it's time to forgive her. Yeah, I'm thinking it's time to sunny day. My sunny day.
So what do we got on the horizon here, man? What do we need to know about for Alan for the rest of the year here?
Yeah, so lots of hopefully new original music coming out. Hopefully, we got some Augie Wisco stuff coming out this year. And in terms of my week to week, one thing that one of my favorite parts of the week, every Wednesday, I have a gig at the Dinghy on Isle of Palms. So that gig actually started with Malin, jumping back to Malin Wagner. He and Dennis Ware and I did that gig at the Dinghy for about 2.5 years, and he had some schedule changes. He was getting a little bit too much for him to do every week. So Malin kind of reached a point where he's like, hey, would you want to take this over? And it had been on my mind at that point where I'm a bass player. I play in a lot of different projects. I would really like to have my own weekly gig where I can do what I want.
Right.
You know, I can have control. And it was a thing where I could focus on running sounds, bringing the PA myself, focus on emceeing the event. I don't have a lot of experience with emceeing in terms of, and this is a really low stakes. The Dinghy's an awesome place. The staff is incredible there. I love all the staff. It had already been a home for me playing there for as long as I did. So it was an easy yes when Malin asked if I wanted to take it over. And it allows me to bring all sorts of different bands in there, which is really cool. But I didn't have a lot of experience with emceeing. My dad, when I was growing up, had the #1 rated morning show in our area, up in the Connecticut, New York area.
What was it called?
Pete Summers. It was his radio name. Pete.
Nice.
There was the morning. Pete Summers and the morning team was their
Nice.
was their name.
Did he have some cool music? Like, you know what I mean?
He was AM, so he did play some music. Oh, but his jingle.
Yeah.
He had an epic jingle. I
wish you had the jingle. You should send me the jingle, man. I'll throw it in right here.
My dad, when he moved down to Charleston in 2005, he quit the radio and kind of started over with some new stuff because of some personal changes. And he's still here down in Charleston, so he gets to come see me on Wednesdays at the Dinghy along with my stepmom Leia. I was always surrounded by, like growing up with my dad being on the radio, I was always surrounded by, that's kind of part of the reason I got into a lot of the music stuff is I was surrounded by gear. We had a reel-to-reel. My first radio was an AM/FM radio with an 8-track player because we had one lying around. It was like, okay, I had a couple 8-tracks when I was a kid. I'm 41 now, but so I was a little after the time where that was a cool thing, but I was exposed to it. And so that was part of kind of my start of all this. And this was an opportunity for me to focus on my MC abilities and to talk to an audience. And it's an awkward thing to do at first. So.
Yeah, growing as a professional. And you don't get a lot of chances like that as a bass player.
Right.
You're standing in the back. You're hanging out by the drummer. Yeah.
Yeah, almost no. Yeah. So
Right.
So I was like, this is a good opportunity for me to step into that role and MC. And it's a comfortable place for me. We have a lot of regulars that come out all the time. So my Wednesdays, when I took it over, I decided to do some things in a different way. So the band name is called the Almost Every Wednesday Band. That came from Malin. When we started the gig, we were playing pretty much every other Wednesday. And so that was how the name came about, the Almost Every Wednesday Band. And
I think it's a great band name, by the way. It kind of reminds me of like the old night show band names, but yeah. The standard names, right? So when I took it over, I talked to him about it, and he was like, "Well, let's just keep the name. I think it's a fun name. It's fun to say." So when I took it over, it was like, well, obviously I'm going to bring different musicians in. I'm going to bring different bands in. I'd like to change it up. I'd like to have
theme shows. So now we're at the point where I took it over in September 2025. So we're, about 6-7 months in. And I've gotten to do some, we did I played with a steel pan band called the Steel
cool.
Collective. We did a Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville Christmas show.
Nice.
That went over really well.
They got good crowds there. I've actually never been to the Dinghy, actually.
It's hit or miss.
Okay.
Spring and summer is usually pretty busy.
Very cool.
The winter time it falls off a little bit, but thankfully we've had a lot of people that just kind of come out, and a lot of regulars that just come out and see us. So, and it's got such a great vibe. I love that venue, and the staff that is, as I said, is awesome there. So one of the things when I took over the gig was, well, I want to record every week. So I have one of these. I have a Zoom Q2N 4K, little portable musician recording video device. So I have, since I've taken the gig over, I've recorded every week. And I started to see, first of all, wow, this is taking up a lot of hard drive space. Second of all, well, what do I do with all this stuff? So that's at the same time in September, I kind of stepped into the role of content creation. As you've talked about many times on the show, it's like you can't just be a musician anymore. You got to do 5 other things. So it was like, well, I have a little bit of experience with video. I have a little bit of experience with recording and stuff like this, and with social media. Why not try this out? So that was another big shift for me. Was like, well, I'm going to do promotion. I'm going to do a video every week. And even when I was out of town for a few weeks in Europe, and Malin was holding down the gig for me. I still, even if I'm out of town, I'm like, I'm going to do some sort of promo video. It might not always be great,
Right.
but I have now.
Doesn't seem to matter as much. I mean,
it doesn't really matter.
It's better if they're good, but it's the consistency.
Yeah.
It seems to be the thing. Yeah.
And it seems like the algorithm's driving factor in a lot of cases is consistency. When you start posting this stuff and you get Instagram and Facebook telling you do this better, do this,
Right. Which is why everybody listening to this show needs to subscribe and like.
Yes.
I don't ever say that very much on the show, but not just to me, but to all the people that you're following or watching or interested in Charleston. It does a lot more good than you think. I'd often heard that myself, but until I actually had this show, and then I dug into some of the numbers, and it does matter as to how you get visibility. Actually,
it's a huge difference. Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead. That's my soapbox for the show.
Yeah. So content creation is kind of a new thing for me, and I'm still kind of playing with it and experimenting with it and seeing how it goes. I don't know. It's
right. It's kind of a hobby until it's not.
Yeah,
in a way. I mean, but it does justify itself. From my perspective, it seems to. Anyway, we'll see.
I think the other thing is thinking about these small things. It's like it's same thing with releasing music. It's like release a song. Before you know it, all of a sudden you have this catalog, and it's like looking back on that. I think is important. Is an important point of view to see in order to make this lasting thing, sort of project or whatever the case it is, I need to put in a little bit of time, not every day, but I need to be consistent. Every week I need to be doing something towards this. So that's been a cool thing to see. That's kind of evolved. I've posted my schedule religiously now for a couple of years, my weekly gig schedule, which started out because my dad asked me, he's like, hey, can you tell me where you're playing? And I was like, okay, well, I'll post it. So I gave myself a reason. I was like, I'm posting this for my dad every week. And my brother and his wife, Katie, live in town. It's like, they were asking me about gigs. So it's like, I want to make this available to them so they can see it. Then that bloomed into okay, well, I need a website. I need all this other stuff. So a lot of it has come out about by necessity in the sense that I've given myself a goal or a target. And the same thing is true with the content. It's like, well, I want to be continuing to release videos. And now I scroll back on my, on my Instagram and I'm like, man, I have all this stuff to show now. So it's really, you're building a resume, and it's not something we think about a lot. I think in music is building the resume is playing the gig, getting hired for the next gig. But I think in a lot of ways, this has been really valuable. And I think it's been valuable. A lot of the musicians that I have featured at the Dinghy, I have footage for them now. They can take that footage and use it for something.
I've noticed a lot of the guys that you have there, they all have pretty good online presence themselves.
Yeah.
So all that does is just cross-pollinate.
Exactly.
And got to continue doing that for sure.
Yeah. So that's been my push lately has been the content creation side of things and the recording side of things to getting ready to release all this other music that I have.
So what's next?
What's next? First up is releasing on the fairgrounds, because that's still almost done. It should be done in the next couple days here.
So you're going to send me the mastered version?
Yeah,
I'll swap it out. Cool.
Yeah,
All right,
I'll
cool.
send you the mastered version. So that's the very next thing on the fair. Well, the very next thing is playing. I have a weekly Tuesday residency now with Malin at Prohibition. So that's
nice.
Tonight will be. Well, actually, he's not playing tonight. He has a sub tonight, but. So that is the gigging side of things. Tuesday, Wednesday residencies, just trying to stay busy. I'm playing a lot with Travis Allison Band this year, a lot of weddings and corporate events. I also done some other recording with some other people. Thomas Champagne has an album that's getting closer and closer to being done.
Cool.
That I recorded bass on that whole thing over at Fairweather Studios. Shout out to Omar and Fairweather. Love that studio space. So Thomas Champagne has a lot of great music that's going to be coming out sometime this year that I'm excited about. Brandon Lamar Simmons has a band named Brandon and the Boys. Been doing a lot more original music with him. Hopefully we're going to be working on some writing and some
Your calendar must be just a big mess, right?
It's
all over the place.
Bit of a mess, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
Good for you.
Yeah, but I like it that way.
Man. Nice.
Doing some touring with Local Nomad, the Steel Collective. We try and stay busy, do a lot of corporate events and stuff too. Me and Mr. Jones, she'll be at Elise Rogers. She'll be at the Dinghy later this month in April, probably after this episode will come out. But we do a thing called Love Shack there. We do like a lot of fun love-themed music.
Oh, cool.
So that's kind of a show at the Dinghy. That's fun.
I like the fact that you're doing like different shows and concentrations. It'll keep it from just being a weekly.
Right. Yeah.
Make it fun, man. Make it cool.
I'm trying to mix it up and like at least once a month do something that feels more like a show than it's just a gig.
Yeah,
you know? And it seems to be well received so far. Hopefully I keep that up. I've been playing recently with Savannah Grace. She's got some great original music. Hopefully we'll record some of that stuff soon. Just gigging. Some other people. Bennett Coleman is another guy I gig with a good bit. He's got some great original music out there. That's just staying busy playing.
Sounds like you
music.
got some bass playing to do, buddy.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Well, man, thanks for taking some time to sit down and talk to us. We're going to leave it there for now. Another show will be back in 2 weeks. Slightly Mighty Podcast. Give us a listen.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.